This is Gradowski of WeAreChange.org here with Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante, off yet another crazy, insane adventure, this time to Jeffrey Epstein's private island, Little St. James. And there's a lot of things we're going to have to get into in this video, but I don't even know where to begin. I mean, just even being here, it was difficult finding a boat operator. Jeff, just start it off from here.
Well, we were in the area, and we thought, no one's ever gone on this island. No real media, anyone really that I know of has ever gone on. We only get the information from the government and the mainstream media, and those are the two things you can never trust with information. So we're like, well, I guess we have to go and check this out and see if it's even real. For all we know, there might not be anything there. Like, it's always lies what they tell us. And for all we know, there could still be some activity going on there. Maybe Bill Clinton's there. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein's there. No one's looking into this. So we took it upon ourselves to, well, let's do it. But it wasn't easy. Most captains said they wouldn't take us to the island. There's all kinds of, you're in different countries on different islands, so we had to work our way around that, make sure we weren't doing too many illegal things all at once. Just rolling up to the island and actually seeing that temple, which is there, so we have verified that. This is a lot of verification of what is actually there, was pretty surreal. Yeah,
and it was also kind of a little daunting, a little scary kind of going in there because, in some jurisdictions you could just get shot and killed for going on private property. And this is, someone that was extremely powerfully connected to presidents, prime ministers, royalty, and was able to evade law enforcement for some of the worst, most despicable acts in this world. This is a man that literally, when he was finally put to court, was given a slap on the wrist by someone who was previously working inside of Trump's administration that somehow was connected. Again, the interconnectedness of Jeffrey Epstein is just absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we're talking about billionaires, leaders, bankers, the most influential people who were on that island, and there was really no one else to verify it. All of I've really seen from independent media is a guy who is anonymous, or a girl who is anonymous, that is flying drones over the island and just documenting what is there. So being in the area, I'm like, we have to see what's going on here, because there was other drone footage showing that there was stuff moved before the U.S. federal government came in. And then, as we know, the U.S. federal government, the federal authorities can't be trusted here. For over a decade, they let Jeffrey Epstein go on and be totally free. He not only had a private wing of his own jail cell, he was able to leave during the day. He was supposed to check in with parole officers that he never did check in. But even the journey here of trying to find a boat, we were able to find out some other information about how this wasn't even that big of a secret on this island at all.
Yeah, talking to the locals, people have lived here for 20 years. They're like, oh, everyone knew. You just see the 12, 13-year-old girls waiting on the dock. They'd come get picked up, go to Epstein Island. So it's incredibly out in the open. And, people like Bill Clinton came here, 50 times? A huge amount of times. It's just like when we go to Bilderberg, right? The mainstream media doesn't cover any of that stuff. They don't cover, because we knew about this. I know we were talking about this for years, about Epstein Island. We were talking about it before everyone heard about it in the mainstream news. And we're talking about how Bill Clinton's going there, and Prince Andrew's going there, and no one, it was just so out in the open. They were so brazen that they're like, well, no one can arrest us. We're involved with all of the people who would arrest us. So rolling up to the island was pretty surreal, and we did not know what to expect. We had because no one had ever done this before. So we didn't know if there was going to be 100 DE agents, FBI agents, all armed. We didn't know if there was anyone on the island. So we had all these plans. I don't know if you want to mention some of the plans. It was a stupid plan.
The whole thing is pretty ridiculous what we were doing, but you had this idea because we were staying at some kind of resort. We're at Joby Weeks, and he's like an OCD kind of traveler. But we got these kind of wristbands here. It says Langley Resort. So one of our plans, out of many plans, was literally just showing up there, and if someone stops, we'd be like, oh yeah, we're here with Langley. You didn't get the memo? And then being like, hey, you got to talk to my supervisor, Jeff. Jeff, you would have. There was 4 other people. We had so many different plans. All of them fell through last minute. All of them didn't work out. I remember being so frustrated in the morning because I knew how important this was. We were kind of bickering with each other, like, "Come on, we got to do this." And then what ended up happening is this random last minute. The captain who said he wasn't going to he said he was like, yeah, I'm not getting my boat seized, I'm not getting in trouble. But last minute, we were just going around the island. I was like, let's go around the island. He pulled up to the dock. He was like, you got 5 seconds. You're going to do this? Do it now. And I was like, oh, literally, quickly grabbed my shoes. And I'm like,
grab my shoes, by the way. Yeah. I just have to say, Epstein Island is full of jagged little rocks, and I didn't bring my shoes. So I'm in bare feet trying to run, especially near the end. We'll get to that part, but we went through the whole island with jagged rocks. So it was like this sort of, we didn't know if we were going to do it. We didn't know, and it was just like, and all of a sudden the captain, he was really great. At last minute, he goes, if you're going to do it, you got 5 seconds, and you just jump, and you're like, Jeff, come, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
I remember in the back, I'm like, he's give me 5 seconds. I quickly put on my shoes. I'm like, do I have my cameras? Okay, luckily I had my cameras in my pockets. And I'm like, Jeff, come, let's go. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm not going to be on my own, because I would be terrified on there on my own. I'm like, okay, thank goodness I had Jeff with me. And then
it would have been creepy to be there on your own, because you just don't know what's there. We heard so many things, and we're on it's quite a big place with the mansion and the temple and all kinds of. There's a huge what do you call it, sundial? Yep. Very interesting. But it was kind of creepy, because at first we didn't see anyone. It was like, we even went into like offices and places, and nothing was locked. But it was like eerily weird, because there was no one. But we later found out there was some people.
Yeah. I mean, I got a phone call, and I was running up to you. I mean, you were running like Forrest Gump. It was extremely impressive to see that run. But like when we got on there, you're like, okay, let's get the selfie stick. I'm like, dude, you don't understand what we're doing. Like, put down the selfie stick, let's go, let's get down low, let's be quiet, and let's traverse this. And we traversed a large part of the island. We didn't get to see everything. We kind of stayed out of the fray. I was always looking, always paranoid. At first, we thought no one was there, because there was no kind of signs there. But pulling up, I was always a little bit skeptical, because the grass was kind of taken care of. We also looked at the pool, and we're like, the pool's also taken care of, so there's people there. And it's important to understand here is that this independent anonymous drone operator, who's afraid to release his identity, who's flying the drones over there, captured Epstein's island with particular items in there that were swept between the federal government coming in. And with the federal government and their investigations not trustworthy, this is why we went in there to try to take a look at everything. And I looked at everything. I looked at every garbage pallet. I went into the ambulance. I checked in to briefcases that were in the dumpster. I made sure that there was no stone unturned. I remember there was a lot of people talking about the possibility of tunnels there. Sadly, we were not there for a long time. We were there for about a half an hour, traversing a lot of the landscape that was.
A lot of the stuff, we went into the office and stuff, it's cleaned out. Like, there's no evidence of anything. But the most interesting to me was the temple. And I heard a lot of people saying from this drone footage that it's not even like, it's like not 3D, it's like a flat wall that they made painted, looks like it's like goods and all that stuff. So we went up and we checked, and yeah, it's just a flat wall. The door is painted on. And I have to say about the temple, he was a billionaire. I say was, he's probably still alive, but he is or was a billionaire. That seemed like the cheapest little temple I've ever seen. Like, why would you just paint? Like, I could have built that myself for about $5,000, I think. And the dome flew off, and there was no hole underneath the dome, which is what you would have if you had a true dome. So it almost looked like a Hollywood set. Actually, that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah. And it's important to note that the dome flew off during a recent hurricane here. So the situation here has definitely been changing. The most interesting things that I personally found were these like little satanic gargoyles with horns on their heads that were all over the property that were very creepy. I also found a chair that was completely made out of horns and looked like some kind of animal hide. That was very creepy and kind of very weird to look at. But other than that, we weren't really that successful, because as we're going through our little mission, we're like, okay, the pool's taken care of, there's someone here, we got to be quieter. Luckily somehow I got service, and our good friend Joby Weeks called me. He was like, dude, there's a lot of people. There's people running all over. We just heard screaming. Are you okay? There's people going around in golf carts. Like, get out, get out, get out. And I'm like, crap. This is not. This is something that has a lot of serious implications. There's a reason the guy who flies the drone around the island is anonymous. There's a reason, Epstein was able to evade any kind of